Energy is the key component of doing workout. What happens to your body if you lack this energy you can use to build your muscle? So today we're gonna look at the effects of undereating and muscle growth. A character, let's call him Alex, who is passionate about fitness and building muscle. Like many beginners, Alex is eager to see results and believes that eating less might help him stay lean while gaining muscle. Alex starts a strict diet, drastically cutting calories while hitting the gym daily. At first, he feels good about his progress, noticing some initial muscle definition. But as weeks pass, things start to change. Alex begins to notice a lack of energy, constant fatigue, and a decline in his workout performance. His muscles aren't growing as expected, and instead, he starts losing strength. Alex feels frustrated and confused because he's working hard but not seeing the results he hoped for. After researching and talking to a nutritionist, Alex discovers that his body isn't getting enough fuel to support muscle growth. He learns that undereating can lead to muscle loss, decreased metabolism, and long-term health issues. With this new knowledge, Alex adjusts his diet, focusing on balanced meals that provide enough calories, protein, and nutrients. He also learns about the importance of recovery and listening to his body's needs. Over time, Alex starts to see real progress. His energy returns, his strength improves, and his muscles begin to grow as he envisioned. By properly fueling his body, Alex achieves his fitness goals in a sustainable way. Stay tuned as we delve more into the effects of undereating and muscle growth.
Josh Core. In terms of building muscle, is it possible to hit or slightly exceed your protein goal of 1 gram per pound of body weight, but still have lackluster results because your calories are too low?
Absolutely.
For sure.
Josh Core is hardcore.
This was a lesson that I learned, because I would consider myself in that category of naturally skinny, more like an ectomorph, those defunct, somatotypes, right? Ectomorph being the naturally skinny, hard to build muscle person. Then you have a couple other somatotypes. But I fit somewhat in that category. It was hard for me to put on mass. It was hard for me to put on muscle. And I felt like I could train and eat like my friends, and it just happened much slower to me. One of the first lessons that I learned on all of this was that calories actually are king. Protein is second. But without calories, it doesn't matter if your protein intake is high. You just don't have enough fuel and energy and building
you need
blocks.
The building materials.
That's right. And so I remember I would aim for protein, and it was better than nothing, right? I would aim for protein. It was definitely better than nothing. I'd take protein powder, this and that. And then at one point, I read this article. Can't remember where I found it, but it talked about how you need to aim for, how hard gainers need to aim for something like 22 calories per pound of body weight. So to give you some context, a 150-pound hard gainer, right, would need to consume, 3,300 calories. And I remember thinking, I think I eat 3,300 calories. Then I started to add things up, and I realized that I wasn't. I was on average eating 2,500 calories, sometimes 3,000 calories. Every once in a while, if I pushed it, my calories were above 3,300. So I said, okay, I'm going to aim for 3,300 calories, or I think it was 3,400 calories for me at the time. And sure as shit, I started to pack on muscle mass. So calories for gaining size, especially for somebody that has a tough time gaining it, nutritionally speaking, calories number one, protein number two.
Well, this is like the question that we got just last week when we were up in Tahoe, was the girl that was trying to build her butt and then was eating enough. She said, I was eating enough protein intake, and then my recommendation was to actually go on a bulk.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times this happens where I get somebody who's like, man, I'm following like a MAPS program. I'm training this way, and I'm making sure I'm hitting my protein intake, but I'm just not getting any stronger or building any muscle. And then I ask like where the calorie intake is, and I'm like, well, when's the last time you actually went on like a bulk and actually tried to increase calories? So it's very similar. Similar answer is, yeah, go on a bulk for a little bit and increase calories and see what happens more often than not. If it's not also related to programming, right? So that's another thing.
Of course, that we're taking that for
right. We're assuming that you're following like a MAPS type of protocol, or you get the concept of an importance of phasing your programs, and so you're doing that already. So I would address that first, right? First, address making sure that you're not like sticking to the exact same program you've been doing for months and months and months on out. And then the second thing would be to put yourself on a nice little caloric surplus for a couple weeks.
Yeah,
and see
if
what
you
happens.
don't have think about it this way. I'll create an analogy, right? So you have a bunch of workers, and you give them building plans, and you order them to build a house. But then you don't provide them with the materials to build the house. You don't give them 2x4s. You don't give them nails and screws. You don't give them bricks. You could order them all you want to build you a house, but they don't have the building blocks to do so. This is what can happen if you have a great workout, even if your protein intake is appropriate and proper, you have a high protein intake, but you don't have enough calories. Your body doesn't have the building blocks to build that extra muscle. So calories are very important. By the way, women, if your goal is to shape your body, build a butt, build some curves, speed up your metabolism, you also need to look at your caloric intake. In fact, the difference between my diet when I'm getting leaner and building muscle or trying to add size to my body, the difference is not the protein. My protein intake is always pretty consistent. I typically aim for about 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight. What's different are my calories. I'll have more carbs and more fats if I'm trying to gain, and if I'm trying to lose, I'll have less carbs and less fat. So the difference is calories.